Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Digital Catapult's Smart Nano NI Technology Access Program webinar briefing session. So today we're going to step through what our Technology Access Program looks like, the benefits you can realize through engagement in the program, and then also hear from some of our expert technologists on the different technology tracks that are available. And then also hear from one of our mentor companies, Causeway Sensors, in terms of some of the work they're up to and some of the mentoring they can supply as part of the program. And then last but not least, a quick step through the application process, just so you're aware of what it looks and feels like and deadlines around submission. And then, as I said, at the very end, we're going to have a quick Q&A session. So if there's any questions that pop into your head as we're moving through the webinar, please feel to drop them into the comment section, and we'll get to those at the end. So feel free to drop those in at any point as we move through the session. In terms of agenda, we're just going to have an introduction to Digital Catapult. We're going to have an introduction to the Smart Nano NI Technology Access Program, and those different tracks that are available and benefits that you will realize and impacts that can be achieved through participation in the program. We'll then hear from Causeway Sensors. So we have David Kane, who is their lead engineer, who will give us a bit of an overview on the company, what they are working on as part of the Smart Nano NI program, and then also the mentoring that will be on offer from Causeway Sensors. We'll have a quick step through the application process, show you what that looks and feels like, quick Q&A session, and then also looking at next steps. So firstly, in terms of an introduction to Digital Catapult, for those that aren't aware, Digital Catapult is here to accelerate the practical application of deep tech to realize a better future. So we're doing that in a number of ways. So leading the way, shaping and de-risking early adoption of deep tech solutions. We're empowering UK and local government, industry and academia to deliver transformational solutions, and then pushing new technology and doing that inclusively, responsibly and sustainably. Digital Catapult is part of the Catapult network. So catapults on a UK basis provide a unique combination of cutting-edge R&D facilities, looking at world-class technical expertise, all in supporting UK business innovation. So the catapults are a critical element of Innovate UK's portfolio of products and services, where we look at the application of research, and how that's accelerated and where new technologies can be further developed, scaled up and realized. In terms of Digital Catapult's impact, so since 2018, we've supported 3,000 companies in a range of different innovation and technology interventions through mentoring, roundtable events, proof of concept development and ecosystem building. In terms of the startups that have engaged in our programs, since 2018, they've gone on to raise investment to the tune of £545 million. So we, as a Catapult, help connect investors into those startup opportunities. And in terms of a footprint across the UK, we have just over 20 technology facilities across the UK, and we'll, I suppose, explain some of the local facilities we have at our disposal in Northern Ireland later on. And then in terms of who are the key partners and stakeholders we work with, so very much at the leading edge of working with government and public sector to help advise and inform key initiatives looking at driving innovation and technology adoption across the UK. We work with academia, so building strong relationships in the research fields and looking at how we can de-risk innovation and accelerate commercialization. As alluded to previously, part of that Innovate UK Catapult network, so very much trying to work closely with the other catapults and pull on expertise from that network as and when needed. Working with a range of corporates and industry to help drive their adoption of deep tech, but then also help ensure industry is informing our programs and interventions when they're being developed and designed to make sure they're meeting industry need and want. Working with startups and scale-ups, so companies really early in their development stage and really leading the charge in terms of innovation and developing new products, services that are relevant to industry, but then also making connections into investors that Digital Catapult can make those introductions to. In terms of what we offer, we've got 5 main key offerings. So looking at bespoke software and data services. So whether we're looking at developing proof of concept demonstrators and showcasing the viability of a technology solution before further investments made. Platform engineering services, so designing, building and operating physical and digital facilities. The likes of we'll come on to later that we have locally in Northern Ireland. That includes testbed facilities, looking at deep tech discovery and experimentation in those spaces. Technology and innovation consultancy, so very much looking at financial viability of technology adoption, looking at change management when it comes to embedding new technology too. Acceleration programs for business, so the technology access program is one of those. So how do we accelerate companies in their plans to adopt technology, enter new markets, develop new products or services? And then facilitating convenience, so very much in the ecosystem building space where we bring together industry, academia, government, and host carefully curated roundtables and events to disseminate and share information. And then what sets us apart in the marketplace? So we very much have an independent position as a not-for-profit organization to sit between industry and government and inform policy. We've since in the last 10 years proven success with leading UK businesses. So working right through the spectrum from startups and scale-ups right through to large multinational organizations. We've got world-class facilities and test beds across the UK. And then in terms of our own in-house deep tech expertise, we have a range of expert technologists across areas including AI and machine learning, blockchain through to Internet of Things, data analytics, and then as we'll hear today in areas including photonics and future networks. We have a wide network of academia, universities, startups, scale-ups and corporates that we work with right across the UK, and we can pull on those networks and leverage those as and when required. And then some real leading programs and services that leans into embedding deep tech and innovation capabilities within the industry. Now, in terms of locally what Digital Catapult is involved in and what the Technology Access Programme sits within is a Smart Nano Manufacturing Consortium, which is led by Seagate Technologies. So this consortium was awarded £42.4 million from UKRI Strengthening Places funding in 2022, looking at accelerating prototyping of medical devices, communication and data storage. So alongside the consortium partner Seagate and Digital Catapult, we have a range of private sector companies who take part in the consortium. So firstly, Analytics Engines. So they're a local data analytics and machine learning company. We have Yellow, who specialize in the design and manufacture of burn-in and live test equipment for optoelectronic devices. We have Cerdan, who are a leading provider of innovative medical device solutions. They are primarily used in pathology imaging to enhance and accelerate diagnosis. And then Causeway Sensors, who have a patented chip platform that gives researchers time result information. So looking at drug binding interactions and other biological sensing applications and David Kane, who's joined us today, will be able to give us some more intel on that. And then we have 3 academic institutions in Ulster University, Queen's and Northwest Regional College, who very much focus on the research capability and expertise, and then also looking at the skill side of things too. In terms of Digital Catapult's objectives and goals on the Smart Nano NI programme, we have invested and worked with both Seagate and Northwest Regional College to implement a 5G test bed. So that is the largest 5G test bed in Northern Ireland currently. And then on the other side of things, looking at accelerator programs, so where we can take learnings from the consortium and disseminate and share that information to help startups, scale-ups, SMEs and larger organizations to accelerate their deep tech adoption. And then we have 4 main pillars around that. So looking at new capabilities around the adoption of private 5G, photonics and nanotechnology, looking to upskill the local sector, and that's collaboration across academia, larger organizations and startups, looking at expanding the ecosystem, so cementing the reputation of Centre of Excellence through innovation hubs in the likes of Northwest Regional College, Industry 4.0 Centre, and then also Smart Nano Lab at Queen's University, Belfast. And then look at promoting Smart Nano to the wider UK ecosystem. So whilst we have a Northern Ireland remit, is very much looking at how we expand the Smart Nano capability beyond the shores here. And then speaking to one of the core missions of Digital Catapult, looking at increasing the adoption of deep technology. So very much focused in the smart manufacturing space, however, plenty of use cases outside of that. And then previously mentioned leveraging the access to the 5G testbed and Smart Nano Lab. In terms of our progress to date on the consortium, Digital Catapult has delivered 4 accelerator programs, all with different themes and technology and sector focuses. We've had 32 participants engage in our accelerator programs, and again, a range of startups, scale-ups, SMEs, and large corporates. We have had 10 mentors to date, delivering industry insights and mentoring. So looking to pair up large or SME mentors who have been through that research and development phase and brought a new product to market and ready for commercialization. We delivered 7 showcase or awareness events. So that's very much disseminating the knowledge and information coming through the consortium out to the wider ecosystem. And so far delivered over 400 plus program hours through that accelerator and innovation program space. In terms of our alumni, we've delivered 4 cohorts to date, with the most recent one completing in April this year. So we are 3 years through a 5-year program, and worked with 32 of the most innovative and forward-thinking companies across Northern Ireland. So large companies, the likes of Collins Aerospace, Devonish, Lecky, Smiley Monroe, through to startups at the start of their journey, including companies such as Badger IoT, Clever Foodie, and the likes of Vicella. So a wide range of companies in different sectors and areas. And next, we're just going to hear from one of our alumni. So a company called Aeroblue Software, who have developed a product called Clever Foodie. And as part of our Cohort 4 Manufacturing Innovation Challenge, we were able to partner Aeroblue Software with one of our alumni in McColgan's Food to really look at some of the challenges in their factory and how Aeroblue's product and service could, I suppose, help with some of those challenges. So we'll just hear from one of our alumni now.
We've actually taken part on 2 Smart Nano programs, the Smart Manufacturing Accelerator and then the Smart Manufacturing Challenge. So coming under the program, we initially knew very little about vision systems and IoT sensors and how they could be used within the food production environment.
So initially, whenever we got the first sort of rundown, there was all the technologists in the one room with all their different, so like the 5G, the AI and ML models, the vision systems. You got your hands on, you could go from station to station and just sort of ask the technologists various questions and really get a deep dive into it.
So through the programme, we were assigned a mentor, William at McColgan's Quality Foods in Strabane. He was able to give us a walk through the factory and talk to us about some of the production problems that he was having.
For the 4 years that I've been here, I've been wanting to gather more data and be able to employ some advanced IoT and analytics technologies in order to improve the business. And it's been very challenging finding the right partner with the right skill set to investigate these problems with us. The Smart Nano program has given us access to engaged, motivated and expert resources to tackle these things.
Without the Digital Catapult Smart Manufacturing Challenge program, we would have never been able to have access to William and his factory. Just being able to test our proof of concept in a large food production factory such as McColgan's has been key to us, and it's made the program worthwhile.
Brilliant. So as you heard there, just some of the real key benefits of having that industry mentor that you can test and pilot and ask questions when looking at developing a new product or service has been really a key sort of driver for how we have shaped and developed the new Technology Access Programme. So I'm just going to step through what the Technology Access Programme looks like and some of the benefits and impacts that can be achieved. So we are currently seeking 10 participating companies. Participating companies come from across Northern Ireland or the UK. The programme itself will run for 12 weeks, so commencing in January and running through to the end of March 2025. In terms of the mentoring aspect, we have two elements. So we have expert technologists in-house within Digital Catapult. What we have gained feedback from some of our previous programs is that in the accelerator space, there's an expectation to maybe attend an accelerator certain days of the week at certain times, and sometimes that conflicts with running a business. So the technologist mentoring is being offered in a very flexible manner. So it's up to 10 hours, one-to-one support with the technologist, and it's up to the technologist and the participating company to discuss and agree on the who, what, where, when, and why. So that mentoring can take place in person, can take place remotely. We can come to your facility to understand your issues and challenges, and then also includes access to the 5G testbed and photonics equipment at Northwest Regional College. So in-person demos and pilots with the technologists sitting side by side to help with any issues or challenges as you're testing any products or equipment. In terms of that free testbed access, that comes included within the program. So really, Technology Access Program does what it says on the tin, really giving you hands-on experience and exposure to the technology, the equipment against the two tracks, the first track being photonics and the other track looking at future networks, which includes private 5G and narrowband IoT adoption. In terms of the industry mentoring, so as we've seen, AeroBlue software really benefited from mentoring from industry. So we've lined up a mentoring from our Smart Nano NI consortium partners, and Causeway Sensors will give us a bit of a brief overview of what that could look and feel like. We're also looking to develop a technology adoption roadmap. So although the program itself is 12 weeks, we're looking to make sure that we're delivering impact and value beyond the length of the program. So our technologists working with the innovation practice team will help develop a bespoke technology adoption roadmap for each business. that will look at how you, beyond the program, look at implementing that technology. What are the resource or financial implications? But then also looking at a real digital transformation plan, how you will take your ideas or your thoughts or your technological aspirations from the end of March and for the next 12 months, map out what that journey looks like. But it also will look at signposting to any grant or funding opportunities that are relevant to your business and the sector you're looking to enter, or the technology you're looking to adopt as well. So really looking at signposting of what beyond the program, how might you best invest or look at grants for adopting that technology. And then, as you seen previously, becoming part of that Smart Nano NI alumni network. So we're really looking to, right across Digital Catapult, build an alumni network and see how we can share learnings between alumni and create some new opportunities, possibly too, when it comes to supply chain. So get an understanding of what other companies are seeking or looking for in their supply chain and how you might fit into that, or the other way around. Although said the 10 hours of mentoring with the technologist is very flexible, just outlined what that may look like. So the program is running through January through to March, and again, it is up to you and the technologist, and with help of the innovation practice team, to map out what that 10 hours looks like. But in terms of what the journey could look like, very much could kick off with a 1 hour discovery session with the relevant technologist and the innovation practice to look at your current knowledge base, look at the development work that's been undertaken to date, look at the skills transfer that's required, and mapping out the requirements across the remaining time allocation. In terms of one-to-one mentoring, that could take the form of 4 1-hour sessions. So very much one-to-one with the technologist, stepping through your product or service development challenges, providing guidance and advice on the technology seeking to be adopted, and then looking at how that could better inform the utilization and impact of the mentoring sessions going forward. We could look at a site visit with the technology and innovation practice team. So that's really in person, where we come to your facility, your office, and look to troubleshoot any challenges on site and look at a demo of the product or service in development in your live environment. And then last but not least, we could look at delivering a short half-day pilot or demo workshop in person at Northwest Regional College. So looking at utilising the photonics equipment or the 5G test bed to demo and pilot your use case or proof of concept. And then the results from that demo workshop will help shape the tailored technology adoption roadmap. In terms of the key dates for the program, so the program did launch on the 21st of October for applications at our Day of Photonics event. As you can see, we're currently in the middle of the briefing webinar that forms part of the timeline. And then we do have a submission deadline of Monday, the 2nd of December at midnight. So we will step through what that application process looks like if you haven't got looking yet. In terms of evaluating those applications, we will undertake a scoring of those applications. So the applications are 4 very straightforward questions, each marked at 25% each. And then we'll look at a follow-up interview / conversation with each applicant and the relevant technologist, and then look to communicate successful notifications mid-December, and then look to the program kickoff from 6th of January onwards. So again, that's not a real hard start, but in terms of your sessions and mentoring with the technologists, that can commence from 6th of January onwards. In terms of some of the team that you'll see on the program, we have a range of expert technologists. So we have Dr. Kelly McPolin, Senior Photonics Technologist, and he will be heading up the photonics track, and we'll be hearing from him shortly. On the future networks and 5G side of things, we have Abhishek Patra, and then we're also including a IoT technologist in Emin Ogar. So very much with speaking to industry, we realize that Internet of Things really transcends both tracks that you can apply to. So we're making sure we have access to an IoT technologist to support any plans you may have in that space. Person keeping us on track in terms of our timelines and deliverables is David Gurley, who is project manager for our Smart Nano NI activities. In terms of the innovation practice that I'm part of, you'll have access to Brendan Lowry, who's senior innovation partner, myself as innovation partner, and Joe Wright as innovation delivery manager. So our team has been out engaging with industry, which has helped design the program, look at running the application process, and then we'll also, during the program, be the conduit between yourself and the technologists and our industry mentor partners, and become your central point of contact throughout the program with any challenges or issues. And then also provide our own insights and guidance when it comes to any industry connections we can make. If you're looking to make connections into investors, potential clients, we can facilitate those connections. And then last but not least, our marketing and communications team in Julie McCullough as the Senior Regional Communications Manager and Colleen Lear. So they've been responsible for, if you've maybe seen some of the social posts and you've been able to sign up for this webinar, but then throughout the program, they'll help us with curating any in-person events. And then also at the end, helping with any dissemination of your success stories, case studies, that we'll develop off the back of the program, which will help with your own things like PR, social media, and promotion. At this point, I'm going to hand over to Dr. Killian McPolin, who's going to take us through some photonics use cases and sectors, and really give us a flavour of what the photonics track might look like, and it might spark some ideas you may have for applying to the photonics track.
Thank you, David. That's a great overview and introduction. So, yep, I'm Killian. I'm a senior technologist at Digital Catapults. I work across photonics and quantum tech. And yeah, I'm going to give you a brief overview of the technology, what the relative levels of maturity of of photonics, and where it can be implemented in your business potentially. So, photonics is the science and technology of light. It's a very broad enabling technology relating to the generation, detection, modulation, transmission of light. So we can think of it in terms of core components like lasers, modulators, waveguides, but also the kind of enabled devices, enabled systems. So your smartphone is full of photonics. Like, of course, the internet is underpinned by photonics, and very kind of broad-reaching applications. So here I've put, connect the world, explore the universe, help cure diseases. So if we take together the enabled products and services, it's a very incredibly large sector, 11% of the world's economy. In the UK, that's about 15 billion output annually. And in Northern Ireland, there's very core strengths within, say, imaging, defense, healthcare within photonics. So it's incredibly useful technology, say, harnessing individual photons, but also the characteristics of waves of light. So, for example, the speed of light, of course, data transmission, fiber optics. In terms of depositing energy, we can make very small pulses to sculpt materials. And also for acquiring data, say, on the state of products or processes. So how light interacts with materials, with systems, gives you able to characterize their properties, their structure. So if we go to the next slide, I'll kind of hammer home the broad applicability of photonics across many, many areas. So manufacturing, which I'll speak more to later in terms of directly sculpting and machining materials. Healthcare, of course, diagnosis and treatment, food, agritech, you've got many, many applications, not just in terms of vertical farming, but say like monitoring crops, transports, autonomous vehicles, there's more and more photonics being employed. Of course, I mentioned smartphones and data, comms, and also storage, which we'll see later when I speak specifically about Seagate's work. So that's just really kind of give you an idea how broadly applicable the technology is. And when I think of photonics, if we go to the next slide, I kind of break it into two areas. So industrial photonics and integrated photonics. So industrial, when I speak about this, I'm talking about kind of maturing discrete technologies for augmenting and enabling industrial processes. That could be, say, quality control, condition monitoring, material processing. So that includes a kind of broad array of spectroscopy tools, imaging, sensing technologies. This is very much the focus of our technology access program. We've got a suite of autonomous equipment in this area that I'm happy to speak about. And the key areas when we think of industrial photonics is that data acquisition, light interacting with materials and structures, transmission, visualization, of course, display, immersive technologies, and directly manufacturing. So headline advantages, greater productivity, efficiencies, and reducing waste. Integrated photonics is, before we go, is on-chip, so kind of miniaturization of photonic technology. So this is very much bringing together many benefits in terms of cost, in terms of efficiency, manufacturing, new functionalities, across the classical and quantum space, and I'll speak to that in a second. So on the next slide, I think I have, some example use cases for industrial photonics. So machining, of course, using lasers. There's a lot of kind of low-hanging fruit in this area for getting greater productivity. Metrology, dimensioning, measuring, which feeds into quality control, inspection, like a lot of vision systems, provide key information about rapid automation in terms of checking for defects, checking it's within tolerance, monitoring equipment, asset monitoring, checking that it's essentially its health, doing potentially predictive maintenance. The data transmission I mentioned, it's also in addition to fiber optics, you could think of Wi-Fi and wireless comms, optical comms. Of course, 3D printing is in terms of that rapid prototyping, that flexibility that it confers, safety, and being able to check both environments, whether in terms of security breaches, and sorting. So based on the material characteristics, it could be, say, looking contamination-wise. It could be sorting different plastics. But that's just to give you a flavor of what is potentially you can do by employing photonic technologies in your business to basically enhance and enable those industrial processes. So on the next slide, I think I will come back to integrated photonics. So the industrial side, that kind of more maturing photonics, integrated, Corey was coming from the comms side, the communication side, but this is potentially leveraging semiconductor manufacturing to get those volumes up, get the cost down, enabling new technologies, both classical and quantum. So for example, biosensing side, computing, both classical and quantum, and LiDAR. So it's really kind of the future of photonics. It's getting things miniaturized, getting things integrated, getting those volumes up, and exploring kind of new use cases across the board. So it's a very exciting time to be working in photonics, particularly with integrated photonics, getting more towards a state that's starting to go beyond comms, both in the sensing and computing space. So on the next slide, I have smart nano. So this is where, again, it's that miniaturization of optical technologies, getting things down to the nanoscale even, that unlocks new functionality, new performance. I spoke earlier about data storage. So Seagate are integrating lasers to enable higher data density, essentially, that by creating a very, very small spot of a laser using plasmonics, which is an area where I come from. That's my own research background, nanophotonics using metals. And Queen's University Belfast have deep expertise and a long research history in this area in terms of developing new nanostructures, new materials that will unlock these kind of new, very miniaturized photonic technologies. And of course, Causeway Sensors, you'll be speaking later, their sensing platform for accelerating, for example, drug development using these very sensitive, miniaturized chip scale systems, plasmonics. So it's within Smart Nano, we've got this very deep expertise in these kind of new emerging technologies, and there's a lot of what we can do both on the industrial side, as we've seen, and on the integrated side, looking further to the future. So I hope that gives you a broad introduction to what photonics is as a technology. It's very different levels of maturity, really kicked off with the development of the laser in the 1960s, but of course, the study of light dates back to engine stabilizations. But as we've seen, there's many technologies that are maturing that can be employed now in your business, and there are many on the horizon that are coming down the line and offer new functionality. So if you've got any more questions, feel free to reach out to me, and I'll hand over at that. Thank you.
Amazing. Thank you, Cillian. Yeah, a really exciting space in terms of photonics, and something that people think of as a new technology, but I suppose it's been around for a number of years now, but some new applications for the technology coming through all the time. Thank you. So in terms of the future networks track, I'm going to step through what that looks like and some of the capability and expertise we'll be able to share. Unfortunately, Abhishek Patra, who's our 5G technologist, couldn't be with us on the webinar today. In terms of future networks, which for this program, we're classifying as private 5G and narrowband IoT adoption, can really advance industry around improved connectivity, those improved data speeds, enhancing any automation, and then looking at real-time communication and data transfer for the likes of real-time analytics. In terms of digital catapults work in this space, through Smart Nano and we've worked in partnership with Seagate and Northwest Regional College. We've established Northern Ireland's largest 5G testbed. So that spans 52,000 square meters and includes, like I said, 5G, narrowband IoT and mobile edge computing capability. Really looking to support manufacturing pilots with network speeds up to 300 megabyte uplinks, 1 gigabyte downlink, and then 10 milliseconds latency. And although, as I say, very much focused on the smart manufacturing space, there's many other use cases in that space. In terms of that supply chain, looking at the smart factory of the future, really where future networks and particularly 5G comes into play is where you can bolt in hundreds, if not thousands, of endpoints to get systems and equipment speaking with each other to automate that supply chain from end to end. So anything from augmented reality on the assembly line through to computer vision for distribution and unmanned and autonomous vehicles. In terms of sector uses, again, a wide range. So where Smart Nano NI really focuses in the manufacturing space, there's a wide range of use cases for the likes of private 5G and future networks. So anything from smart cities, healthcare, looking at inventory management, capacity planning, retail in terms of interactive and immersive shopping experiences, transportation around traffic control and asset tracking, energy and utilities, again, asset tracking, disaster recovery, public safety, we're seeing use cases come through for, so where there's real critical communications needed, and surveillance and security around crowd management. And then agriculture, so the automated and precision processes around farming and things like livestock tracking too. So a wide range of where you need a fast, reliable, secure network with low latency and needing to connect hundreds and thousands of devices to a secure network is where the likes of private 5G and narrowband IoT really come to the fore. In terms of our 5G test bed that we've developed at Seagate and Northwest Regional College. So it is a what we call a tier 1 private 5G network that was delivered in partnership with Nokia. So as I said, it's more than 52,000 square meters of private 5G and IoT coverage across Seagate's production floor, and then twinned with Northwest Regional College's Industry 4.0 Centre, and includes mobile edge computing. In terms of what sets it apart or makes it special, so it's a turnkey commercial private 5G network and being deployed on a live factory floor at Seagate. So it's the largest 5G facility in NI and supports industrial automation, artificial intelligence, machine learning, really at the edge of the network, and then also capacity to support thousands of IoT sensors and process data in real time for pilots and proof of concepts. So in the Northwest Regional College, they have a number of different machines, from robotic arms, autonomous goods vehicle, through to a small assembly line. And we can connect up those devices to speak with one another over the 5G network. And in terms of some of the use cases we're working on through the 5G testbed, so looking at asset tracking, so tracking products across factory floor and facility, right down to within a couple of centimeters, to that geolocation. Looking at a smart helmet system, so that's looking at engineers' incident reporting and testing of machinery, and includes audio transcription to text, and looking at developing a large language model around that. And then into weather sensing, so detecting changes in weather, harmful gases, humidity, temperature that can all affect the production on an assembly line as well. So stacks of different use cases, whether that's internally for a business or company looking at their own internal processes and efficiencies, or for companies looking to develop products for and services for the private 5G space. So products or services that would go into a large facility that's operating a private 5G network. We're now going to move into mentor company overview. So we have David Kane, who is lead engineer at Causeway Sensors, who are one of our Smart Nano NI consortium partners. And as alluded to earlier, part of the offering is up to 5 hours of industry mentoring from one of our partners. And David's just going to give us a bit of an overview of what Causeway Sensors do, their involvement in Smart Nano NI, and some of examples of the mentoring that they'll be able to supply and provide.
All right, fantastic. Thank you. As David says, my name is David Kane. I'm the lead engineer with Causeway Sensors. And I've just got a few slides here to kind of explain, what we're doing at Causeway and some of the mentoring opportunities that we can maybe work with the Technology Access Program on. So really the core of the Causeway product is that we have a device that can take crude samples from bioreactors and tell you about the quantity and quality of the antibodies within them. And you'll ask yourself, well, okay, that's academically interesting, but why does that matter? It matters for a number of reasons. There's a number of industries and sectors that this can apply to, but our beachhead market, and the thing that is really interesting at the moment, is in human antibody therapies. And antibody therapies are a new class of medicines that are coming down the line. And particularly in terms of personalized medicine as well, drugs that are tailored to the individual. And it's something that is very difficult for humans to do. So if you think about more traditional drugs, you'd take a bunch of chemicals, you'd put them into a vat, you'd mix them around at the right kind of temperature and pressure for the right amount of time, and you'd end up with another chemical that was your end drug. Well, antibody therapies are considerably more complex than that. They're proteins. They're these extremely complex folded molecules. And to be honest with you, humans just don't really have the ability to make those yet. So we kind of cheat and we get cells to do it for us. So we either genetically engineer or we kind of, selectively breed cells. We examine the antibodies that they're producing, and then we say, okay, we'll take that cell line forward and we'll make more tweaks, and so on and so forth. And it's really critical to be able to understand the quality and the quantity of the antibodies that those cell lines are producing that could become human therapies. And that's what the Causeway device offers. And just in case you're wondering, antibody therapies are sort of critical in a number of areas. For example, cancer treatments. So one of the drugs that our platform can detect and has been deployed on is trastuzumab, which is a breast cancer treatment, and that works by binding to what's called the HER2 receptor, and it basically stops the breast cancer cells from being able to replicate and kind of communicate with each other. And there's other applications as well. There's a couple of antiviral treatments for COVID. There are antibody treatments that bind to the spike proteins on the COVID virus and stop it from entering the cells. And there really is a whole range of research and kind of areas that are opening up that are going to make antibody therapies a really exciting and growth market. So Causeway is in a very good position to support it. So how do we do that? Well, we put our device, which we call Titan, onto the benchtop in R&D and manufacturing laboratories, and this device encapsulates the nanosensor platform, which I'll speak about in a moment. And obviously, this is a device that has optical sensing in it, has light sources, it has mechanical, electrical. There's obviously a product has been designed around this software, firmware. It's a reasonably kind of complex thing that we've been able to develop over the last few years. And then in terms of kind of the photonic side of things, the real core and the photonic core of our technology is this nanostructured sensor chip. So it's this array of billions of nanorods. And what it is essentially is a very, very small, very, very accurate set of scales. It measures any mass that lands onto the surface of it. And that's useful, but it's not really all that useful in and of itself. What you want to do is be able to chemically code it and then biologically code it so that only the thing that you want to measure binds to the surface. And it measures the mass by putting light into the rear side of the chip, and the light is then reflected. And basically, it sets up a resonance in those nanorods. So it's a little bit like putting your finger onto a tuning fork. Whenever a mass lands on those rods, it's like putting your finger onto a tuning fork, and you kind of damp that resonance slightly and change the sound, or change the light output, in this case, the reflected light. And that's what our system can detect. So it's incredibly accurate and allows us to detect these antibodies, which are very, very small molecules binding to the surface. When we're doing a lot of this manufacturing and prototyping in Belfast, I had hoped to come to you from the Smart Nano NI laboratory this morning, but the Global Innovation Summit that's being hosted at Queen's is causing traffic and parking chaos. So I elected to play it safe and do this from home instead. So apologies, you're not getting a better preview, but you can see in some of these images that obviously we're doing a lot of our prototyping and a lot of our research work in the facilities that Smart Nano and I have. And those facilities are absolutely fantastic. They range from rapid prototyping, 3D printing, water jet cutting, vacuum forming, and so on and so forth. And those 3D printing facilities range from pretty crude stuff up to the really high end, as well as a lot of optical test bench instrumentation, wafer scale manufacturing. It really is a fantastic array of tools, and also a number of people, postdocs, technical staff, who are able to assist us, other consortium companies, and any other user of the lab in being able to use that. And then we have a number of these Titan prototypes that have been developed with the help of those facilities, and are now deployed in research trials with a number of organizations around Northern Ireland, the UK, and further afield. And they are actively taking measurements from bioreactor processes and giving excellent devices. And we're getting some really, really good feedback and some really good data from the field. And that just simply wouldn't have been possible without the facilities that the Smart Nano program is able to offer us. So that's a kind of a whistle stop tour of the Causeway side of things, what we do, how we do it. And so now I'd like to take a moment to talk about what we can possibly offer in terms of the mentoring opportunities. So, I spoke earlier about the fact that you've got that sensor that was originally developed out of the physics department. It was a piece of academic research. You got that sensor that's very much a physics side of things, and then you have the chemistry in terms of the coatings on top, and then the biology in terms of the assays. And one of the sort of the niche things that I think that we can offer, and perhaps are one of the best place consortium partners in terms of this, is navigating multidisciplinary research. I like to joke that we started off as a physics company, and then as we did the chemical coding, we became a chemistry company, and then we became a biology company. And now that we're developing the kind of next generations of our technology, we're back to being a physics company again. And, that's a kind of a little pithy soundbite, but the reality is it bleeds together. We're all of these things all at once, and sometimes there's more of an emphasis placed at one point than another. But really, at the end of the day, it is a multidisciplinary team, and that's a difficult thing to pull off. And so many products really require that. And particularly whenever you're coming from maybe an academic background where you've kind of been, siloed into that one kind of pure research area, it can be challenging to kind of get your head around what is required in terms of being able to pull off a successful multidisciplinary project. We've had 10 years of experience in this, 10 plus years. So we would like to hope that we know a thing or two, and we definitely know a thing or two about the pitfalls. And that's something that we could hopefully usefully pass on in a mentoring capacity. And the other thing is navigating the VC and the investment landscape, and not just in Northern Ireland, but further afield as well in the UK and beyond. Because whenever you're trying to bring, and I appreciate that not everybody on the call here is coming from a fundamental research and development side of things. They may be trying to apply, photonics technology to an already established business area, and they may be using more off-the-shelf technologies. But if you're not, if you're looking at something that is unproven, it can be difficult to get that. It can be difficult to get that past investors. They quite often tend to be risk averse whenever it comes to the more fundamental R&D side of things, and we have experience, for better or worse, in kind of navigating that landscape. And again, it's something that we'd be happy to offer some advice on. In terms of managing the R&D lifecycle, and again, just commercializing fundamental R&D, whether you are coming from an academic department and you're doing a spin out, or whether you have developed technology from a purely commercial standpoint, on day zero, developing anything that's fundamental R&D, it's difficult. And the chances are, if you are a startup, or even a relatively large SME, you probably won't have all of the tooling, the expertise, and the facilities in-house that you need. You almost certainly won't. And we have experience in navigating the landscape in the UK and Ireland and Europe, of being able to find those kind of niche companies that have the expensive, large, complicated tool sets or the expertise to do this particular process, and be able to take that, communicate with them, and get a solution together at a good budget, at a good price, that enables your company to move forward quickly and not have to kind of bring in expensive capital equipment or hire in expertise that you only need for a short time and is difficult to find. And then, of course, we are very much in the biology and life sciences space, and particularly in the bioprocessing and biotherapeutic generation space. And again, we have a lot of experience. We made a lot of contacts in the European and the East Coast US. A lot of this industry is centered around Boston in the United States. And again, we're happy to make introductions if we can. We've also made a lot of friends and a lot of contacts in some of the government departments here and in GB. So in Invest Northern Ireland, Department of Trade and Enterprise and so on, who are responsible for looking after some of the life sciences sector in the UK. And again, those people are fantastic and really kind of amplify the efforts. And then the final thing that I mentioned, I'd hoped to come to you from the rapid prototyping lab in Smart Nano in Queen's Belfast today. We have a great deal of experience in the rapid prototyping space. Getting that device together, you kind of have two challenges. One is you're actually looking at sensor chip, you're looking at the physics, the chemistry, the biology, and getting that thing to work. But then everything else around it, the microfluidics, the spectrogram, the spectrographic analysis hardware, the light sources, and even just the product development, making sure that you have a chassis, you have the electronics, you have the certifications, necessary, and the software and the firmware to support the device. All of that is complex. We've learned a lot. We've leaned heavily on a lot of our consortium partners in Smart Nano and I to gain some of that knowledge. And again, it's something that would be happy to talk people through, and particularly from a photonics standpoint, some of the tooling that is available in that lab that would not be available anywhere else really in Northern Ireland, certainly not available to small companies. And that ranges from, let's say, 3D printers, ranging from relatively crude FDM style affairs that are sort of more or less consumer level, right up to extremely expensive 2-photon lithography systems that can do sort of 100 nanometer scale arrangements and require a clean room and skilled operators and so on. There really is a big array of hardware in there that stretches from the reasonably simple and reasonably easy to grasp and get going with, right up to the incredibly powerful, but there's a big learning curve on it. And that's something that, again, if we can offer any assistance, would be happy to do so. So I think the final slide here then is just my contact details. If anybody wants to drop a line, be happy to have a chat. And I assume I'm also very much reachable through the Digital Catapult team and the Technology Access program as a whole. So happy to chat. And then I believe there's a Q&A at the end as well. So if anybody has any questions, be happy to answer them then. So thanks very much, David. Hope that was a useful run through, and I'll hand back to you. Cheers.
Thanks, David. So next up, we are going to take a bit of a walk through the application process. So for those who haven't got looking at that yet, you'll get to see what it looks and feels like and what it entails. And for those that have maybe started, you'll maybe get to see what the next couple of steps look like for you. So Cara McMenamin, who's Innovation Delivery Manager at Digital Catapult, is going to take us through the application process. Thank you, Cara.
Great, thanks, David. So yeah, if you want to click on to the next slide and we can get started. Thank you. Yeah, so as David said, we'll take you through the application process quickly here. So if you are applying, you can apply through our website, or any LinkedIn posts will direct you over to our website where you can apply through here. So the website will give you a good overview and key dates, any frequently asked questions, and more detail then again about the future networks and photonics tracks that we've been through today. So any information that we've talked about today, you can go ahead and look at that again on the website. So if you are interested in applying, then you can just click on the link on the website to apply now. And then David, if you want to click to the next slide, that will take you through to our platform that we've used called Skipso. So when you're applying, you will have to create an account to apply for the program. So you can either log in through single sign-on, or you can sign up and create an account using the link at the bottom of that screen there. So once you have created an account, that will take you through then to our programs, where you can see the Smart Nano NI Technology Access program is there. So if you click on to that program, that shall take you into the application form. So next slide there, David, thank you. So we've kept the application form as simple as possible for you. So we have the first section, which you'll fill in your general information. So just your name, your company details, those kind of, your email, all those kind of details. And then you will be brought into the application questions. So as David mentioned earlier, we've just got 4 questions there. So we have the problem and solution, the growth potential, a business strategy question, and then a ability to execute question. And so on the application, you just fill it in, and we've given you an example response as well to the questions. So hopefully they will be simple enough for you to fill out. So once you fill in those 4 questions, and just to mention as well that those questions are weighted 25% each. So 4 questions, 25% each, and that is that part of the application form. So next slide then, David. Brilliant. So hopefully that won't take you too long to fill out. And then finally, on the end of the application, there's just an EDI survey for you to fill out. And just to note that once you create an account on Skipso, you can go back and fill out the application form at a later stage, and it will automatically save your application if you maybe leave your computer for a couple of minutes and forget to go back to it. So your account will save all of your application details. Next slide then, David, I think that might be it. Yeah, So any questions about the application form or any of that, you can reach out to me or reach out to David, and I'll pass back over to you now, David. Thank you.
Brilliant, amazing, Cara. Yeah, and as Cara said, we've tried to keep the application processes short and sweet as possible. So for questions for you to articulate your interest and plans against the two possible tracks, and share some information on your team and your progress to date. So all limited to 500 words each. So you know, you're not having to write War and Peace, and keep it as informative and as light as possible. So yeah, any issues or questions with that, please feel free to come back to us. Contact details are on the website. So now we're just going to have a short Q&A session. So I don't know, I'll just check if there's been any particular questions come through the chat. Don't know if there's any I can see. We have yeah, we have some in the chat. So we have a question, and I think Killian, if you're there, might be best placed to answer this one. So can the photonics equipment be tested or used on site?
Yeah, so essentially we would like to take equipment out onto your, say, your company premises, the industrial environment, and kind of do that kind of testing where you're able to show that it's a viable solution in the relevant environment. So it's a different story doing lab testing to, as you know, doing it in the industrial environment. So I think that's key part of the process, is illustrating that these solutions are rugged, they could integrate with your systems, and you know the data flow is fully seamless.
Brilliant. Thanks, Killian. Another one that's just popped up. Are there any costs for participating, and does the program provide any direct funding? So I can take this one. So the program is fully funded. So there are some, when you look at the landing page and look at some of the information and frequently asked questions, there is a particular de minimis or state aid level that the program attracts. So you'll need to be able to self-certify and check that by participating in the program, that undertaking this state aid or de minimis doesn't take you over the particular levels for your company. So depending on the sector or where your company's based, this can be anything between 250,000 up to 300,000 euro in a rolling 3-year process. And this particular program accounts for approximately £1,500 of de minimis or state aid. So you'll need to just check that for your own benefit, that you're not going to take yourself over that de minimis threshold. And then, does the program provide any direct funding? So no, all the support is funded, not providing any direct funding to you as a participating company. So all the support's free of charge, including the access to industry mentors as well. And that is, we're availing of the funding through the UKRI Strengthening Places program. That being said, we will, as I said, part of that technology adoption roadmap, we will provide signposting to relevant funding or grant programs that are tailored to your sector or technology you're looking to adopt. So we will provide advice on that, because I know sometimes the first step in investing in some of this technology or equipment can be costly. So we'll make sure that that we'll signpost to that. Next question is, what's the expected time commitment for participants? So very much the 10 hours one-to-one mentoring with the expert technologist and relevant technologist. So there's a set up to 10 hours you can utilize. If you don't need the full 10 hours, that's completely fine, but it is there for you to utilize. And then again, up to 5 hours of mentoring from our industry partners, so the likes of Causeway Sensors, Yellow, Cerdan, Seagate, etc., where you can utilize 5 hours. So that's 15 hours one-to-one engagement across the 3 months, January through to March 2025. And then, not that we want to call it homework, but when you're working with the technologists, they may set some challenges or questions that between your sessions that you go away and look at some more development or work internally within your business to come back to the next session prepared with maybe some answers to questions that are being posed or challenges, etc. So there may be some time commitment in between times, but the core one-to-one in-person mentoring sessions culminates in 15 hours across the 3 months. Next question, and again, Killian, this more posed at yourself. So are there any specific examples of photonics equipment that can be accessed as part of the program?
Yep, so we've got an array of technologies that very much focus on that data acquisition I was talking about. So it's, as an example, hyperspectral imaging, which provides much more color information than conventional imaging systems. That could be used for the kind of material inspection, looking for contamination, sorting. We've got some vision systems, say for dimensioning, object detection, also people detection. It's quite broadly very flexible technique that you can employ across many areas in vision systems. And we have also, for example, 3D scanners, say for that kind of quality inspection metrology as well, and that we're prototyping. So it's kind of a very broad sweep of different technologies, kind of focused on that sensing, imaging, getting data on the state of products, processes, environments, people, and allowing you to act quickly by integrating it with your systems.
Right. And I suppose I'll answer a similar question on the future network side of things. So very much we have the network in place, so where companies can come in and utilize that network to test their products or services in development, but we do have access to a range of 5G enabled USB dongles and Nokia 5G enabled SIM cards. So it's something that we can retrospectively get your products or services onto the network and then be able to test the speed and the security and the latency. So it's a very safe space to pilot, test, and prototype, and possibly fail quickly as well. So working out what doesn't work and how they can iterate your product or service or pivot as well. So whereas on the photonics side, it's very material, hands-on equipment. Obviously, the 5G and narrowband IoT is more the access to the network and then bringing your physical products or services into the space to test or pilot. Next question, are there any KPIs for participants, or is that left for each company or individual to decide? So really from a KPI or impact or output perspective, we're very much looking companies to, within the 3 months, really have accelerated their adoption of their technology track. So again, whether that's an internally focused project looking at efficiencies in a production process or within a particular facility, or if it's a product or service they're looking to commercialize, very much just looking at the company to have advanced in those plans. And then I suppose towards the end of the program, we'll look to run a bit of a short demo session where each participating company can articulate and talk through where they started at the start of the program, where they've got to in terms of their technology adoption plans, and then also what their plans are for the future beyond that. But really, our ultimate KPI or impact is upskilling and upscaling businesses with their deep tech adoption, and that's the ultimate outcome for us. And obviously, we would love it to see your products and services commercialized and out in the wild, and that's something that we'll help and support with beyond the program too. Brilliant. Look, I don't think there's any other questions just come through just yet. So at this point, joined by my colleague Joe Wright, who is going to take us through just really a bit of a wrap up and next steps. So I'm going to hand over to you, Joe.
Thanks, David. Good morning, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us today. So now we're on to the next steps in the final part of our session. I think the key takeaways from today are, there is no one size fits all. This program is designed around you to support you. And I think you could see from our mentors example, as well as the example case study that we showed with Jason from Aeroblue Software, McColgan's, that, we get all sorts of different businesses taking part in this program that, drives the adoption of deep technology, but it also de-risks innovation, and it gives you that space, as David had said, to fail fast. So next steps, really, all you have to do is scan the QR code that you can see on the screen, and that will take you to the application process that Cara took us through. So just a reminder of some of the key dates. So the 2nd of December is when the program closes. So it's opened at the minute. You have until 11:59 on the 2nd of December. My advice would be, do not leave it to the last minute. It is a very straightforward application process. The questions have been designed to, get to the root of the challenges and why you'd want to come on the program. And it really shouldn't take too long to fill out. If you do have any questions or queries, you can contact us through the website and we can give you support with your application as well. Our plans then are to review and score the applications around about the 6th of December. The scoring will be done by a team of experts from within Digital Catapult, and we will let you know your results if you've been successful on the 16th of December. If you're not sure if this program is for you, but you are interested in it, please do fill out the application form, as we're planning to host some kind of follow-up interview calls around the 13th of December, just between the review of the applications and also the decision communication. So if you do have some questions or queries, or you're not maybe sure you've articulated it, you'll have the opportunity to talk to the team so that we can get a fuller picture if we're not 100% sure if this is a good fit or not. So, put in, I would encourage you to apply, because even if this program isn't suitable, we will have other programs coming up throughout the duration of the remainder of the Smart Nano program. So as David had said, we're 3 years into a 5-year program, so this isn't your only opportunity to get involved. The program's going to be flexible with a hybrid approach tailored to the need of your business. You'll have the consultation sessions for the technologists, which can be conducted remotely, in person, and via workshops taking place at Northwest Regional College Industry 4.0 Centre. And again, QR codes there, you can scan the link, you can find the details through our LinkedIn and on our website. And again, just remember that your company must be registered in Companies House as a UK or NI business. And if you've taken part in a previous accelerator program, this doesn't preclude you from taking part in this one. You're more than welcome to join again. As you've seen earlier, again from the case study, Jason McDevitt took part in not 1 but 2 of our programs. So do feel free to apply, reach out if you have any questions, and we look forward to seeing you on our program.
Brilliant. Thank you very much, Joe. So that brings us to a close. So we're really excited to see all your really innovative and groundbreaking applications coming forward. And as Joe alluded to, any questions, please feel free to reach out and we can get in touch and discuss any queries you may have. And just leaves me to thank all of our presenters and speakers today who took us through the Technology Access Programme. I hope you have a great day. Take care, everyone. Bye.